Jesus in it. How's everybody doing? Good. Well, it's so good to see your lovely faces. Happy Mother's Day to all of the mothers, grandmothers, mother figures here in the room. We bless you, we honor you, we love you. Also, happy Mother's Day to the mothers who are not in the room, but because you are here, we know that they're here. We love you, we love you. So I want to dig right in. Our series this month is The Power of Myth, and we're using the powerful conversation between Joseph Campbell and Bill Moyers, and the groundbreaking series Power of Myth to sort of influence our messages this month. So last week we took the title, Whose Truth Is It Anyway? And we looked at the idea that many times truth is subjective, and many times we use our truth to separate us. And so we looked at the story of the trickster, Esau, who is showing up to teach us how we have to recognize that there's two sides to a story, and it can all be true. I use the example when we look at mathematics, that there are many different ways to get to the number 4. And so what we're not interested in, whether you're the 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1 crowd, or the 2 times 2 crowd, or the 2 plus 2 crowd, all we're interested in is getting to 4. However you get to 4, it's all good. Because we recognize whose truth is it anyway. We don't actually own truth. We just want to get to that place of unity. So if you missed that message, please go back to it. But I want to dig right in into a part that I love in The Power of Myth. I think it's a riveting moment in the conversations between Bill Moyers and Joseph Campbell, where they're talking about the creation stories, and they're talking about the fact that there's so much commonality among the creation stories. Most of us here in the Western world are completely familiar with the creation story in Genesis 1, or the second creation story in Genesis 2, but we may not be familiar with some of the other stories that exist. And so they highlight 3 different cultures. They highlight first the story in Genesis, and then they go to West Africa, then they go to Southwest North America, and then to India, to the Hindu religion. So I want to read this, and it's a conversation where Bill Moyers reads a section from Genesis, and then Joseph Campbell responds with a section from another tradition. It goes like this. Genesis 1, in the beginning God created the heavens and the earth. The earth was without form and void, and darkness was upon the face of the deep. This is from the Song of the World, the legend of the Pima Indians of Arizona. In the beginning, there was only darkness everywhere, darkness and water. And the darkness gathered thick in places, crowding together, and then separating, crowding, and separating. Genesis 1. And the Spirit of God was moving over the face of the waters, and God said, "Let there be light," and there was light. This is from the Hindu Upanishads, from about the 8th century BCE. In the beginning, there was only the great self, reflected in the form of a person. Reflecting, it found nothing but itself. Then its first word was, "This am I." Genesis 1. So God created man in his own image. In the image of God, he created them. Male and female, he created them. And God blessed them, and God said to them, "Be fruitful and multiply." Now this is a legend from the Basari people of West Africa. Unumbote made a human being. Its name was man. Unumbote next made an antelope, named antelope. Unumbote made a snake, named snake. And Unumbote said to them, "The earth has not yet been pounded. You must pound the ground smooth where you are sitting." Unumbote gave them seeds of all kinds and said, "Go plant these." Genesis 2. Thus the heavens and the earth were finished, and all the host of them. And on the 7th day God finished his work which he had done. And now we go back to the Pima Indians. I make the world, and lo, the world is finished. Thus I make the world, and lo, the world is finished. Genesis 1. And God saw everything that he had made, and behold, it was very good. And back to the Upanishads. Then he realized, I am this creation, for I have poured it forth from myself. In that way he became this creation. Verily, he who knows this becomes in this creation a creator. And Campbell says, that is the clincher there. When you know this, then you have identified with the creative principle, which is the God power in the world, which means in you. It is beautiful. Now, just that reading by itself, we could go home. We just have a lot right there, right? To see the correlation and to see how what we may be more familiar with in the book of Genesis is paralleled many years before in the writings of the Puma Indians, or in West African stories, or in the Upanishads. Interesting. And there's a line, the very last line from the Upanishads that I want to look at. I, indeed, I am this creation, for I have poured it forth from myself. In that way, he became this creation. Verily, he who knows this, she who knows this, becomes in this creation a creator. And this is taking us back to understanding that when we know who we are, we then actually come in contact with the God that we are, the I am that I am. And in this creation, we become a creator. So today's Mother's Day. We just honored our mothers. We have flowers for all of the mothers here after service. And as I thought about Mother's Day, I thought it was important to look at these creation stories and to talk a little bit about creation. But you know, Mother's Day is interesting to me. It's a wonderful, beautiful, necessary holiday. And for many, I find it interesting that many times Mother's Day has become synonymous with a celebration of womanhood. And I think that can be problematic because, you know, motherhood is only an aspect of the feminine. But many times I see that it becomes equated that way, and I think that can be problematic. Additionally, I find that sometimes with Mother's Day and honoring mothers, many times people focus on the pain of childbirth, right? And so because you've gone through this struggle, we should honor you. But that takes out some people out of the room, right? We have adoptive mothers. We have mothers who became mothers just out of circumstance. And so to honor a mother or to look at motherhood, it can't just be about looking at, oh, well, you suffered through this thing and you went through the pain and labor of childbirth, and so that's why I must honor you. There must be something else there. But I also find it interesting that even though many of us may have strained relationships with our mother, or contentious relationships with our mothers, or even a non-existent relationship with our mothers, still mothers are celebrated. You know, fatherhood is an interesting thing. Fathers are not necessarily always celebrated, especially if you're not cool with your father, right? But it seems that motherhood, no matter what, we still have found a way to celebrate motherhood and honor motherhood, and it's a beautiful thing. But also, I just want to go back to the problematic aspects that I've also found that today, in this society, it seems that motherhood has become this sort of goal to attain and a club to jump into. Which again, I think it takes us out of what motherhood is and the beauty of motherhood and the power of motherhood and why it's necessary. But still, as I say all those things, and as I look at all the different ways that we honor mothers or think about mothers on Mother's Day, I think there's something absolutely brilliant that we can learn from mothers. And so the question is, what can we learn from mothers? And as I thought about that, that's where the topic came, the womb of creation. Because the womb is the thing that immediately has us thinking about motherhood. And so as I thought about the womb of creation, I thought about it symbolically, as we always do here, that just as we talk about the male and female aspect being a part of each and every one of us, we must also understand that the mother and father aspect is also present within each and every one of us. And what we must understand, if we're talking about a womb of creation, we're not just talking about the physical womb that is present in each and every woman, but we're also talking about a spiritual womb, a metaphysical womb, the womb of creation that we live in and that we also possess. And so as I thought about that, and it's a wonderful idea to say metaphysically or spiritually, we all have a womb and we're all a mother, and that includes everybody in the room, beautiful. But I think we need to understand what, and kind of come to an agreement about what a womb is and what the function of a womb is. And so there were four things that came to me. When I thought about the womb, I thought about the fact that the womb is the place where the spark of life happens. And what's beautiful in this day and age, we're able to actually watch the entire process from conception to birth. But still, even in being able to see that and all of the technology that we have, there's this one mysterious moment where the fertilized sperm and egg actually disappears. And we don't actually know what happens. I believe that is that moment possibly when life itself, the spirit itself, sort of inhabits that fertilized egg, but I don't know. We don't know. There's a point where it just disappears and we can't see what's going on. And I love that because that also says to me that the womb represents a place of mystery. There's something that happens with the spark of life, with the spark of creation that is beyond what we can see, conceptualize, or imagine. But that's where life happens. The spark, conception happens. And in that same breath, the womb is the place where life forms and grows. And so we have that fertilized egg, and of course it grows, and the cells begin to split, and those cells begin to split, and those cells begin to split, and it begins to form into organs and bones. And it begins to form into skin, hair. All of these amazing things begin to happen in this mysterious place that we call the womb. The other beautiful thing about the womb is the place of nourishment. For we know that everything that the mother takes in, everything that she eats, it is nourishing that growing life. And finally, the womb is the place of connection. Symbolized, of course, as a child is born with the umbilical cord. A place of connection. And on an energetic level, that connection actually never leaves. I don't care where you are in the world or in the cosmos, there's an energetic golden thread that ties you to your mother, whether she's in this life or beyond. And so again, the umbilical cord symbolizes that. But when it's cut in this physical world, it cannot be cut energetically. So know that your mother's here right now. Know that she's here right now. You can feel her. Her presence is here. So we say that the physical room, again, is something that speaks to a spiritual collective reality, right? That this physical womb is something spiritually we all possess. And so that sounds a little crazy, especially like, Greg, you're a dude. Like, how on earth can you say that you have a womb? And so I want to talk a little bit about this idea of duality. Understanding that in this world, we live in the world of opposites, of dual, of male and female, right? But in the non-physical world, in the place of unity, in the place of oneness, there is only oneness. And so your physical self, your non-physical self in the spiritual world is one, is both male and female, possesses those qualities within. But when you come into this world, you must express as one or the other. And so, but when we see the fact that there is a female presence in the earth, the fact that there are wombs in the earth speaks to the fact that there are wombs in the non-physical that we all possess. Okay? Similarly, all of the male aspects, all of the male principles, all of the things that represent the male as the catalyst, as the spark, that is also present within each and every woman, each and every female. And so when we understand that sort of abstract spiritual idea that actually we are all male and female in our oneness, as we represent and understand that the physical womb here in the earth represents the fact that there is a larger womb, this womb that I call the womb of creation, we can begin to understand and look at how we create and what is necessary to create in this womb of creation. And so I want to go back to that verse from the Upanishads, where Campbell says, "Then he realized, indeed, I am this creation, for I have poured it forth from myself. In that way, he became this creation. Verily, he who knows this becomes in this creation a creator." That is the clincher then. When you know this, you have identified with the creative principle, which is the God power in the world, which means in you. It is beautiful. This creative principle, this God power, this womb of creation is the mother principle that is operating in each and every one of us. And I think it's very important as we're celebrating mothers today that we begin to understand that the life that we're creating, that the life that we desire, that our dreams require a mother. And in order to have a mother, there must be a womb. So we must understand that there's a womb within us that we live in and that is in us, a womb of creation. And so we just talked about what this womb is. And as we think about what we want to create, just for a minute, just think about the life that you're choosing to create, the life that you desire. Think for a minute about the things that you want to experience in your life. Think for a minute the things that you just said, I want to let go of. Because I recognize as I let go of that, I get to have a new experience. In order to experience that, you must recognize that you possess a womb, and you must recognize that there is a mother principle within you that must mother that dream, that must mother and nurture that desire. So what does it require? We're talking about elegant and deliberate creation. It requires a recognition that you possess a womb, and then it requires a recognition of what the womb represents. So we just talked about it. When you're thinking about your desires, when you're thinking about your dreams, it requires a place, a receptive place for the spark of insight or ideas to happen. We just said in the physical realm, we recognize that the womb is a place where the spark of life happens. Do you recognize, or where in your life is that womb for your ideas, for your insight, for your dreams to be sparked? That can happen in meditation. It can happen when you're just in stillness. For me, many times my greatest ideas come when I'm brushing my teeth. Because I'm just in this meditative place, right? Where my mind is really shut off and whole songs will just come to me, right? Whole ideas will come to me. But when those ideas come, are you receptive? Are you open? Are you like the womb of creation, allowing that idea to happen? And so it takes us into the next point. What is required? A place to nourish our dreams. Because see, what I recognize is many times amazing, grand ideas come. I've experienced it in my own life, where an idea will come, a book idea or a business venture or something, and I will convince myself of how crazy the idea is, taking the idea out of the womb, because that's not nourishing, right? That's not receptive. But if you allow these ideas to be nourished, let them come. Your dream, whatever it is, it doesn't matter if you haven't seen it done before. It doesn't matter if no one in your family has done it before. It doesn't matter that your bank account doesn't tell you that you can do it. It doesn't matter that you don't know how you're going to get the loan to open the business. It doesn't matter. Because again, if we look back to the physical birth, how we all came, mothers can't figure all of those things out. There's something that's beautiful that's happening in the womb. If it was up to each and every mother to figure out exactly how the bones were going to be formed, and will this child have blood, and oh well, I don't know, I mean, how does the nose happen, and all of these things, if it was up to the mother to figure those things out, we probably wouldn't be here. But there's wisdom in the womb. That place of nourishment, that place to nourish our dreams. And so, moving forward, the womb must be a place to form and grow our ideas, again, without judgment, without criticism, without skepticism or ridicule. Again, maybe it's just me. Maybe I'm the only one. When these things come, immediately I snatch it out of the womb. I don't even give it a time to rest and allow the process to happen. Allow those cells to split, which is more ideas coming. We talk again a lot about the law of attraction here. And what's beautiful, I think we've reduced the law of attraction to just physical manifestation, and that's not what it's about, right? It's actually as a thought attracts another thought, which attracts another thought, which attracts another thought, that eventually becomes physical reality. And that's what's happening in the womb. You have an egg and a sperm cell, they come together, conception happens, and then it splits, and then it splits. And then it splits, and then it splits. A thought attracts another thought, attracts another thought, and then it becomes physical reality. It's the same thing. But we have to allow that process to happen. Again, how many times you get to the moment of conception, which is that exciting moment, right? You get to the moment of conception and it feels good and it feels amazing, like, oh wow, this idea is great, and oh, I think I can do this, and oh, I really want to go back to school, and oh, if I get this degree, life will be great and I can do that, or oh, I realize if I open this savings account or invest in this way, I can flip my money and grow my money in 5 years to more than, and then all of a sudden, what happens? That voice of skepticism shows in and snatches it out of the womb. And so if we understand that we possess a womb, if we understand what the womb is all about, and we understand what the womb of creation is about, we recognize that we don't ridicule any idea. We don't ridicule any idea. We let the voice of skepticism go. We allow that idea to germinate in the womb. And if you just allow it just for really a few more seconds, it will attract another thought. As you're thinking about that business idea, or you're thinking about going to school, or you're thinking about starting a family, but you're a little scared, right? If you allow it to sit for just a few more seconds, possibility shows up and shows you another way. And more possibility shows up and shows you an open door. And more possibility shows up. And as you begin to allow those thoughts to attract to themselves, then all of a sudden you'll deal with manifested reality. Then all of a sudden you'll open up a magazine and you'll see a class that you should take. Then all of a sudden your phone will ring and somebody will say, you know, I was thinking about you this week. I would love to sit down and talk about what your business ideas are, what you're doing lately, right? Then it becomes manifested reality. Now finally, what does the womb require? A place of connection. We talk about it all the time here at CSC. The daily spiritual practice is not an option. Because what I've come to know to be true, absolutely, on a day-to-day basis, that when I am not connecting, the voice of skepticism usually wins. When I'm not connecting, the voice of fear is usually the voice that I'm connecting to. When I'm not connecting to the womb, to that place that nourishes me unconditionally, that loves me unconditionally, when I'm not connecting to that place, again, that's where fear shows up. That's where doubt begins to show up and kills my dreams, kills my ideas, kills my zest for life, kills my joy. And so this place of the womb, this womb of creation, it must be a place of connection. And this place of connection, it doesn't matter what you do in terms of following some legalistic rule. 5 minutes a day, every morning. It's the point is really about making sure that you're deliberately choosing to connect, recognizing what this means for you. And I would argue that it's a selfish choice in the most beautiful way. Because you recognize that your dreams matter. You recognize that your ideas matter. You recognize that who you are choosing to be in the world matters. It matters so much that you will not let anything or anyone, any distraction, move you away from that place of connection. Because you know that place of connection is your power source. I mean, imagine for a moment, you are the light of the world. Imagine for a moment if as a lamp of some sort chose not to plug itself in. How could it ever light? How could it ever shine in a room? How could it ever illuminate a room if it's not plugged into its source, if it's not connected? But so often we walk around through our lives saying we are lamps, saying we are lights, and will not connect to our source. And that is here in the womb, a place of connection. And we can carry this idea much further, because even as we are physically manifested in this world, still there's another place of connection as the mother brings you to her breast and still continues to connect and nourish you. In Scripture, it's one of the few places where we really have a personification of God as mother. When he's talking to the children of Israel, and of course in the Old Testament there's always these stories about them doing wrong. But God, in the story, Yahweh is calling them forth. And he uses the imagery, the writer uses the imagery of a mother bringing them back to their breast. Recognizing that is that place of comfort and safety. It's one of the few times that we see God personified as female or as woman. And particularly as mother. God the Father is all over the Bible. But I love that we have this one place that takes us back to the place of nourishment. This one example, this one idea that takes us back to the place of eternal connection. And just as energetically, again, that tie can never be broken. That golden thread is there. So it is the same as you begin to mother your ideas, as you begin to mother your adventures, as you begin to mother your dreams, as you begin to nourish and allow them to connect with them on a daily basis. This is where the process of visualization becomes powerful. Think of it as mothering your dreams, mothering your ideas, nurturing your dreams, nurturing your ideas. You can hold the thought in mind and begin to imagine it, begin to play out the entire scene as you want to see it. Begin to imagine what your new home will look like and begin to decorate it in your mind. That's nurturing your dreams. That's being the mother of the reality that you are choosing to create. And so I invite everyone to stand in this moment. And I invite you to think for a minute and recognize that there is a womb within you. And it is ready and receptive to create whatever it is that you are choosing to create. That's what's beautiful about the womb, or if we look at the symbolism of the earth. It's unconditionally loving. It doesn't matter in the earth if you put an apple seed or an orange seed or a watermelon seed or an eggplant seed or a tomato seed, it will give you that thing easily and effortlessly. It doesn't care if you're good enough or bad enough or all of these things. It doesn't matter. And so just in this life, there's no requirements to become a mother or even to become a parent. It's not about the type of person that you are. You don't have to, check off some list and so now I can become a parent because I've achieved these. It has nothing to do with that. Because creation has nothing to do with that. But when we understand that process of the womb, then we become consciously careful about what we're placing in the womb. We recognize now that we have this womb of creation, and we recognize that this womb will create whatever we want. This always says yes. The universe always says yes and amen. Yes, yes. 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 But now we are consciously choosing to plant these ideas in the womb of creation. But to keep skepticism out of the room. To keep ridicule and doubt and worry and fear out of the room. To allow just a few more seconds for the mystery to happen. For that place of conception to go down where we can't see what's going on. It's in the non-physical. It's in the place of thought. It's in the realm of mind. We can't see it all. We don't know what's happening, but we trust it because we've experienced it over and over and over again. We allow that to happen just for a few more seconds. And then we allow that process of the cells to split, the thoughts to attract themselves. And we allow it to grow. And we commune with it. We speak to it. Oh, I see the image in my mind of a mother rubbing her belly, speaking life into the life of that child, speaking love over the life of that child. Doesn't know what it'll look like, doesn't know what it will be or what it's here to do or what its destiny or what its path is, but you can begin to speak love and life over it. You don't know how it's all going to happen in that moment when the child is just in your womb. You can't figure out how you're going to send them to college or how you're going to pay for this, that, or the other. It doesn't matter, but you can speak life over it. Because you recognize that every idea is a God idea. Everything that is created, including ourselves, is a God idea, and it comes with everything it needs for it to be great on the earth. So, Mother, Father, God, we stand here in this moment, recognizing that we possess wombs of creation, just as you are the womb. And as we recognize this power, as we recognize this I am that we are, we recognize that we are not only the creation, but we are creators within the creation. We recognize that awesome power and that awesome responsibility. And so we are choosing now to consciously plant ideas in mind that will bring forth fruit, that multiplies and enhances the earth. We are choosing to plant ideas in mind that allow us to be a beneficial presence on the earth. We are choosing today to remain plugged in, to remain connected to our source, just as we are connected and plugged into the loving energy of our mothers. Because we recognize it is from that connection that we get nourishment. We recognize it is from that connection that loving words are spoken to us. We recognize that it is from that connection that we then find out that we can do nothing wrong. We recognize that it's from that connection that then we can leave the world of shame and blame. We recognize that it is from that connection that we are simply moving forward in power, in peace, and in ease. I am grateful for the creators that are here in this space and within the sound of my voice. I'm grateful for those who have recognized that there is a mother principle operating in, through, and as them. And I'm grateful for the ways in which they are choosing today to stand in that role and begin to nurture and mother and be the caretakers of the life that they are choosing to experience. So we move through this week honoring our mothers, honoring our grandmothers, honoring the mother figures, honoring the physical symbol of what is true in the all that is. And from this place of recognition, we walk through life with joy. From this place of recognition, we walk through with a little more power. From this place of recognition, we walk through understanding ourselves and our life and the life of our brothers and sisters just a little bit better. And so I release these words, every word that has been spoken, back into you, back into the how, back into the cause, back into the cosmic womb. And I know that it shall all come forth easily and effortlessly, efficiently and elegantly. For this truth, we are so very grateful. Together we lift up our voices, we say amen.
Amen.
Ashe.
Ashe.
And so it is.
So it is.